Hello and welcome to Be Just the Light TV this morning. I want to thank everyone that watched the last video I did on performance appraisal. I want to thank you for your likes. I want to thank you for your shares. I want to thank you for your comments. I appreciate every one of it. I say God bless you. Now this morning I'll be talking on another dimension of performance appraisal, and that one is titled how to ensure performance appraisal in relationships and marriages. How to ensure performance appraisal in relationships and marriages. Now I've come to realize that though people feel it's negligible, that performance appraisal is nothing in marriages or is nothing in relationships, but from the look of things, there have been cases where the root cause of the problems in those marriages was actually or were actually performance appraisal, absence of performance appraisal. Like this person wants to be appreciated, that person wants to be appreciated, but then those things are not forthcoming, then problem comes up. But now this morning I want to briefly talk about how to ensure performance appraisal in relationships and marriages. Now first I will talk about those things that can be responsible for absence of performance appraisal in your relationship or in your marriage. The first thing is this: ego. Ego, like a sense of pride. This is commonly found in men. You don't want to feel less a father, you don't want to feel less a husband, you don't want to feel less a man in the house. It does not matter. Performance appraisal does not reduce your status or your stature. Your wife did something that's worth thanking her for, then you do well by thanking her. Your wife does something that is worth appreciating her for, then do well by appreciating her. Don't say because you are the man of the house or you are the husband, then you keep quiet and not do what you're meant to do is wrong. Ego. It can also be found in women, but it's just common in men. So when there is ego, to appreciate whatever your spouse has done will be difficult. You will not value it. You will be thinking it's no big deal. Yeah, it's no big deal. What has he or she done? It's no big deal. Now the second thing is this: lack of forgiveness. Now it is difficult for you to appreciate whoever that has offended you when you have not forgiven the person. If your spouse should offend you and you are still holding the offense against him or her, there's no way you can appreciate such person, because your heart will be filled with grudges, your heart will be filled with hatred, your heart will be filled with anger. All these things will even block your vision. All these things will even block your mind. You will not be able to observe that which the person had done right. You will not be able to have that sense of wanting to appreciate what that person has done right, because within you still have the memory of what the person has done wrong. Why? Because you have not forgiven the person. So when there is lack of forgiveness, it is difficult for performance appraisal to be the order of the day. It won't happen. It can't happen. It will not be genuine. Now the third thing is this: when there is lack of happiness, probably you're in a relationship or you're in a marriage, and now something happened outside your relationship, probably with your colleagues at work, probably with someone outside, and then you come home and you're not happy. It will be difficult for you to see that someone has done something right, so you will not be able to appreciate the person for what he or she has done. Why? Because you are not happy from where you're coming from. You're not happy, so it's difficult for you to say, okay, this person, I should say thank you to this person. This person, I should say yes, you have done it right. That is it. Lack of happiness. Then another thing is this: constant mistakes or errors. If you are the type that constantly makes mistake, you are always making mistake, like every now and then. So at every point in time that you do something good that is worth appreciating or that is worth praising you for, you may not get it because already people are used to your ways of doing things. People are used to you making mistakes. People are used to you making errors. Your husband or your wife is used to your mistakes. So when you do something great or something excellent, he or she may not be able to say, okay, this is a job well done, I appreciate this. So that is it. You have made yourself an object of constant error, constant mistake. You are constantly making mistake. It will not give room for performance appraisal. Now another thing is this: lack of love, which is very important. Lack of love. Probably you don't love your spouse, you don't love him or her, so there's nothing he or she does that will be of any value in your sight. So the best thing, if you know you don't love him or her, don't even be in a relationship or a marriage with him or her. Whoever you don't love, don't be in a marriage with such person. Don't go into marriage or into relationship with such person, because there will be times where performance appraisal will be needed and you will not be able to give it. So it's better you don't go into relationship with such person. When you love your spouse, you will value him or her. When you love your spouse, it will be easier for you to forgive whatever he or she has done wrong. When you love your spouse, you will be able to notice the good things she is doing and ignore the bad things he or she is doing. It's very important. So now, how do you now ensure that there is performance appraisal in your marriage or in your relationship? First, get rid of ego. Don't say after all, she has not done anything, or he has not done anything. We have people out there that can do better. Don't do that. Don't compare your spouse with outsiders. Drop your ego. If you can say this thing you have done is wrong, then be able to say this thing you have done, I like it. When your wife cooks soup and is watery and you are able to complain, then if she should cook it and is delicious and palatable, then you should be able to say, sweetheart, you have done well, I like this soup, it's interesting, I love it, I love you, thank you. When your spouse, your husband comes home and not bring anything, you complain. Then when he comes home with something, you should be able to say, thank you, sweetheart, God bless you. It is very important. Performance appraisal. Drop your ego. Don't let your ego cover or enshrine your ability to be able to appreciate your spouse for what he or she has done right. Now, number 2, find it easy to forgive your spouse. Don't hold grudges. Don't hold negative memories of what your spouse has done wrong. Find it easy to forgive him or her. Then number 3, value your spouse. Value him or her, regardless of the status, whether he is rich or not, whether she's physically pretty or not. Always think about the reason why you got into marriage or relationship with him or her in the first place. Value him or her. Value your spouse. This is when whatever he or she does will be meaningful to you. This is when you will be able to appreciate the little he or she is able to offer. Value your spouse. Value her. Then, another point, avoid falling into errors every now and then. When you keep falling into errors, your spouse will not appreciate some things that you are able to do right. Avoid falling into errors constantly. Avoid mistakes. Don't keep falling into errors. Don't keep making mistakes. It's a burden. It wearies your spouse. It wearies your spouse. It becomes a thing like, for how long am I going to keep correcting you? When will you start doing things right? So even when you do it right, he or she may not notice, and thus will not be able to appreciate you for what you have done right. So avoid falling into errors. And lastly, and the most important thing, love your spouse unconditionally. With this, you will deem it fit to appreciate whatever he or she has done. Thank you. God bless you, and see you all the time. Bye.